Welcome back to the Explainer, everyone. Today, we are unpacking a massive piece of AI news that is a literal game changer for agriculture. We're talking about a groundbreaking semantic segmentation framework detailed in a recent paper by researchers Rana Kumar and Somyashri Kar. They've introduced a unified deep learning pipeline that is completely transforming how we approach automated crop disease detection and severity scoring. If you're an agricultural AI developer, or honestly, just someone fascinated by real-time edge computing, you are going to absolutely love the mechanics of this.
All right, let's just dive right into it. Today's roadmap will look at the $220 billion crop problem, break down the unified AI pipeline, do a little model benchmark showdown, talk real-world edge deployment, and wrap up with a developer integration guide. Let's get to it.
Part 1. The $220 billion crop problem. Before we really get into the weeds of this new framework, pun totally intended, we've got to understand the macroeconomic stakes. We're talking $220 billion. That's billion with a B. According to the research, plant diseases and abiotic stresses wipe out roughly 20 to 40% of global agricultural yield every single year. That translates to over $220 billion in economic damage annually. So this isn't just some niche farming issue, right? It is a massive vulnerability in our global supply chain. To fix it, we have to spot these plant stresses incredibly early and with absolute accuracy.
Now, think about how we've traditionally handled this. Manual scouting. It is painstakingly slow. You've got humans literally walking the fields, which makes it subjective, super labor-intensive, and just completely unscalable for today's mega farms. But enter the new pixel-precise, explainable stress indexing framework. It is incredibly fast, mathematically precise, totally objective, and automated right down to the individual pixel on a leaf. It basically takes all that human guesswork completely out of the equation.
Moving on to Part 2, let's look under the hood at the unified AI pipeline.
So how exactly does this thing process images to get that crazy pixel-level precision? Well, the secret sauce is that it's a unified deep learning pipeline. You aren't stringing together three clunky separate models. It handles the image in three integrated sequential stages. First up, segmentation. An encoder-decoder model isolates the target leaf from the background, creating a mask just for the infected areas. Step 2 is classification, where a dedicated head identifies the exact disease category. And Step 3 is regression. Here the module calculates a severity index by comparing the diseased area to the total leaf area. The real takeaway here, consolidating all this eliminates those separate, disconnected inference steps. That drastically cuts down latency, which, as we know, is an absolute must-have for field robotics.
And that brings us to the actual output. This system doesn't just spit out a generic sick or healthy label. It gives you a severity index. This is a continuous structured score derived directly from the precise ratio of diseased pixels. But here's where it becomes a real game changer for precision ag. That raw score gets mapped into 4 distinct operational tiers: low, moderate, high, and very high. This means the framework isn't just flagging a problem. It's practically prescribing the solution, triggering highly specific agronomic interventions based on those exact tiers.
Okay, Part 3, the model benchmark showdown. The theory sounds amazing, right? But how does it actually hold up when you test it? The researchers ran this pipeline through the apple tree leaf disease segmentation dataset, which has over 1,600 expertly annotated samples. And when you look at the spatial accuracy using mean intersection over union, it's practically an elimination race. UNet completely dominates the pack with a .70 score. SegFormer puts up a decent fight as a high compute runner-up at .66, but FCN and PSPNet, they stumble hard at .49. In the world of automated spraying or targeted treatments, a sub-.50 score is a huge red flag. You'd either completely miss the infection zones or trigger false positive chemical sprays. So for production pipelines, FCN and PSPNet are effectively disqualified.
Now what's really interesting here is the winning configuration. When you pair UNet with a MobileNet V2 backbone, it hits a mind-blowing 98.20% pixel accuracy and 99.41% overall detection accuracy. But wait, the true hero metric here? Inference time. 14.7 milliseconds per image. Yeah, you heard that right. We're going to talk about why that specific number is revolutionary in just a second. But lock that 14.7 milliseconds into your brain.
And just to really drive home how reliable this top-performing UNet model is, the severity index it computes has a Pearson R correlation of .968 with human expert annotations. If you work with data science, you know an R value of practically 0.97 means this regression module isn't just incredibly fast, it is essentially mirroring the exact judgment of a trained human expert standing right there in the dirt.
All right, Section 4, Real-World Edge Deployment. Look, having a blazing fast model on a pristine lab server is one thing. Actually putting it on a drone flying over a dusty, sweltering soybean field, totally different reality. Developers have to juggle some intense physical and environmental constraints. You've got edge hardware getting way too hot in thermal throttling. You're dealing with variable camera angles from the wind, occlusion where healthy leaves cover diseased ones, and you absolutely have to have noise reduction for live video streams. That 14.7 millisecond benchmark assumes you are feeding it clean input frames. Out in the wild, you absolutely have to build rock-solid pre-processing pipelines for leaf extraction and noise reduction before the semantic segmentation even kicks in to do its job.
But assuming you've got that pre-processing locked down, here is why that speed matters so much. 14.7 milliseconds of inference time translates directly to processing live video at 60 frames per second with zero buffering. That is the magic number, folks. It means a drone doesn't have to snap a photo, bounce it to a cloud server, twiddle its thumbs waiting for an answer, and then log a GPS coordinate. No, the entire unified deep learning logic executes right there on the edge device in real time at 60 FPS.
Finally, Section 5, the Developer Integration Guide.
If you're an agtech developer building out these crop monitoring systems right now, the research gives us some highly actionable takeaways. First off, if you are targeting edge devices, UNet with MobileNet v2 needs to be your baseline architecture, for sure. And definitely pin your specific model versions because MobileNet v2 backbones can vary pretty wildly across different code libraries. Second, keep those edge environments stable by containerizing your inference pipeline and mounting read-only dataset volumes. Third, and this is huge, leverage the framework's output design. Don't burn precious compute power parsing raw visual masks. Just configure your farm management software to directly consume those 4 severity tiers, low, moderate, high, very high, and map them straight to API payloads for automated irrigation adjustments or pesticide dosing. And lastly, always build a programmatic fallback in case your segmentation confidence dips below that 99.41% baseline.
So, we've seen today how ditching slow manual scouting for a unified deep learning pipeline can make a massive dent in a $220 billion global problem. By rolling segmentation, classification, and regression into a single 14.7 millisecond powerhouse step, we are legitimately entering a new era of automated agriculture. So, I'll leave you with this to chew on. Is your current edge infrastructure actually ready to process pixel-precise leaf segmentation at a blistering 60 frames per second? Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer. I highly recommend checking out the full research paper to see the intricacies of the apple tree leaf dataset for yourself. See you next time.